Hello and welcome to my demonstration of the NetScout LinkRunner AT1000 and the NetScout LinkRunner G2. I'm going to be going over a couple of the functions for both of these devices to analyze networks and test network cabling. So the first thing I'm actually going to do is to test a network cable. So I've got a cable right here. I'm going to plug it into the top LAN port on the NetScout G2. On the other end of that port, I'm going to use a WireView wire mapper. They come in male only, so you're going to need a female to female, which comes in the larger kits to test it. Once I've connected that on there, it's been running, so I'm going to hit the retest button, that button right there in the corner, to retest it and let it go through the cable. So we're seeing some issues on this cable. We're seeing that we've got about 8 foot for the blue, 0 feet for the brown, 0 feet for the green, 0 feet for the orange, and then it's showing that it's severed. So let's test it. Maybe we've got a bad tester, which is unlikely. Maybe. Let's check the cable on this one. So this one is not a touch screen. So you're actually going to have to go through and hit the down arrow and then select, and then it will run through its cable test. And on this one we are showing pretty much the same thing, a little bit different. We're showing this time the brown is 7.8 feet, and the other interesting thing on both of these, on the G2 it's showing none, and on the AT1000 it's showing a question mark for the wire mapper that it's connected to. So here's a little trick. I actually went through and sabotaged this cable pretty severely. I can actually just fully rip that open. So let's try that again with a cable that is actually in good working order. Once again, I'm going to click that in right here. And we're going to click to rerun the test. And the first thing you notice is that it comes back with a number of the WireView wire mapper. And then it shows that all the wires inside are 3 feet long. Now we're going to go to the AT1000, and this one does not have a, actually it does have a rerun button, my apologies. And once again, shows it just the same on that one. So that's really simple. It pretty much is right in that menu to check your cable. Once again, for the NetScout LinkRunner G2, it is going to be right on that home screen. So once you're on your home screen, click your LinkRunner G2 app, and then you're going to go to cable to test your cable. On the AT1000 over here, we're going to click home, and it's going to be under the cable right there. So what I'm going to do now is I am actually going to connect both these to a switch and see how they operate. Alright, so I'm going to run the same cable test again. And it actually knows, as you can see, that it's connected to a switch. And that's pretty much all it's going to tell you. It's actually not going to tell you any more information about the cable. To see information that is available to it while it's connected to a switch, the best thing to do is run, go to either switch, which will tell you information about the switch. So right now you can tell that the NetScout LinkRunner G2 and the AT1000 are both connected to a Cisco switch that is named switch. It is a 3850-24T. It is showing you the IP address of the switch itself. So this is the IP address that is configured as a IP address for that VLAN. This one is showing you right under the port that it is connected to VLAN 10, and it's connected at full duplex, not half duplex, at 1000 megabytes per second. Same over here on the AT1000, it is showing you that it's connected at full duplex at 1000 megabytes per second, and also connected to VLAN 10. So pretty much anytime that you're going to use either of these two devices, unless you are just checking a cable, if you are checking for network issues, network connectivity, or just qualifying a line that is recently installed and you just want to make sure that it's connecting properly, you're most likely going to run the auto test. So I'm going to restart that one there, and then with this one, run the auto test there. So the AT1000 is going through a little bit quicker, so we'll talk about this one first. So it's already showing that it's connected at 1000 megabytes full duplex. It's showing you that the receiving pair is connected correctly, polarity is connected correctly, the level is correct, and what it's advertised that it can run at. Down in the next one is the switch port, which tells you information about the switch that we saw on that other screen. But it goes into detail and it says that its name is the switch. The port that it's connected to on the switch is 104. The VLAN it's connected to is 10, the model of the switch, and the IP address of that switch. So right here it is showing that it has gotten a DHCP address. Let's see if it tells you where it's getting it from. Yep. So it's showing the DHCP server as 10.1.1.254, and it shows that it received an offer, received an acknowledgement, and it got its DHCP address, and it was valid. So right here we've got some IP addresses that it pinged along the way. So the first IP address it did was a gateway, and it's pinged both of its DNS servers that was given by the DHCP server. And the last one is it pinged a website. So those are all the tests that it goes through when it does an auto test. It pings websites or IP addresses. It shows you the DHCP information, shows you the switch information, shows you its layer 1 information and connection speed. So over here on the LinkRunner G2, the first thing that pops up, which it thinks is a problem, is the PoE, and it's saying there's no PoE detected. This switch happens to not be a PoE switch, so it wouldn't be there. Next we go down and we see the same things that are on the AT1000, where it's going to tell you information about its layer 1 connection speed, if it's in full duplex, half duplex, and it's actually showing the advertised speeds, everything that it can run at. And it's showing its receiving pair, normal, and its interface is RJ45. This one can do fiber. The LinkRunner AT1000 cannot do fiber, it is copper only. Next is going to show some information about the switch, that it's plugged into port 2, it's on VLAN 10, it's on a Cisco 3850. And the address of the VLAN on that switch is that address right there. So next it's going to show that it got a DHCP address. Its discovery went out, its offer time, its request, its acknowledgement time, so it gives a little bit more information than the LinkRunner AT1000 would have given. And it shows you our lease time, as well as the server address and the subnet. So then we're going to go down a little bit, and then we've got our DNS information, and it shows you the ping times. And then right here it is showing you our gateway and the ping times for that. And I guess I can continuously ping it if I'd like. and we'll stop that there. And then finally, right underneath this, we've got a website that we have. It is automatically configured to ping, and I'll show you in just a bit how we can change that. But first, I'm going to show you where I work. Most of the times we are on a closed-off network, so we don't have the luxury of having gateways in the internet. So let's see what that's like. Should have a lot of failures now. Alrighty, so let's run this test again and see how these two manage. So let's get the LinkRunner G2 has already found the connection. It's found the link. So has the AT1000. Now they're both going to get kind of hung up on the DHCP. They're going to continue to look for them. Meantime, it has found the switch. Same on the AT1000. The bad thing I'm going to report is it's going to hang there for quite a while. So if you were looking on a network that is supposed to have a DHCP, this is about the time where you should start to worry and should start to look into that a little bit more. But if you're on a network where you're not quite sure if there is truly a DHCP, or you're trying to find a VLAN that has the DHCP because you are going into an unknown area, you might want to wait for that DHCP timeout to fully come through. So, if you are working in a LAN that does not connect to the network, an isolated LAN, it's easy. You can go over here to the settings on the LinkScout G2 and scroll down. Scroll down to IP. Right here on the IP configuration, there's DHCP. Let's change that to static. Our IP address is going to be 10. Let's delete all that other stuff. 10.0.0. Let's pick 9. And there's nothing else on the switch except for a laptop. Subnet mask. Let's change that to full open. Our gateways. We actually do have a gateway set up on this Cisco switch, so let's go. And we don't really have any DNSs because, of course, once again, it is not going out, and it's the only thing on there, and we don't have a Windows domain server, so let's just keep that there. Click Save. Actually, sorry, we don't have to save, because, so that'd be if you can set up different profiles for this. This is really meant for doing tickets. So you can set up different jobs, add comments to the jobs, and you can actually add photos and other things onto the actual ticket that you are working on. So let's just make sure that that actually took. We've got our IP right there, and everything's still set. So now it's going to test itself. So that's the LinkRunner G2. To do the same thing on the AT1000, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Tools, and then IP Configuration. It's right there. Go to IP, and then you've got the fun time of setting it up this way. So we're going to go 10, 0.0.0.0, and then 10. Save that. Subnet 2, 5, 5. Leaving it wide open. Save. So this one you do have to save, just to make sure that everything goes through. Go over here, back to auto test. So let's go back to the LinkRunner G2 while the AT1000 is going through its paces. Here we are connected at 10 megabytes per second. That's pretty funny. Connected to the same switch. Shows that our static IP is set. For some reason it kept the DNSs. I didn't go through and actually delete them. We've got our gateway right here that it has pinged, and we can do a continuous ping the same way to our gateway. You notice it actually still wants to ping Google, still wants to connect to the internet. So everything that is showing up in red, so you've got your PoE, your DNS, your Google, and your live link unclaimed. So live link is going to be NetScout's, in my own words, repository that you can save your jobs to. We don't use it, so it is always going to show up in red there. But it doesn't like that we can't connect to our DNS, and it does not like that even the DNS lookup for Google failed, so it couldn't ping it even if it wanted to. So let's say that you never want to ping Google because you're always going to be inside a network, and you have a specific IP address that you want to always ping. So first, so what we're going to do is we are going to go to this settings once again, and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to get to a part called targets. So the first target is Google, so we don't want that, so we can delete that. And then we can add a target. The target I want to add is 10.0.0.5. It's always going to try and target its default gateway, so you don't have to put that in if you are putting in a default gateway. If we want to get rid of the DNS and delete that, and we should be good. So it is one thing you also can't get rid of is the port number unless you take off TCP. So if you're going to be running TCP for your pings, it has to be running that. So hopefully it's running on ICMP to complete those pings out. So we're going to let that automatically test again. And in the meantime, we're going to go and set the AT1000 up to do the same. So we're going to Tools, and then we are going to go to Auto Test Configuration. And here we have the same thing where it's automatically wanting to go to Google. So what we're going to do is just backspace, which this is going to be a little bit more fun because it is not a touch screen. And we're going to go to 10.0.5. And we're going to click Save, and then we are going to delete that port. The AT1000 doesn't ask you if you only want to do TCP or no TCP. It will let you choose whatever you want. We're going to go back up to Auto Test. We're going to run that test again. So now on our LinkRunner G2, we see that we've completed the auto test, and we've still got those two things that are not going through. Let's go back to settings. And I have not yet found a way to, well, I can disable the PoE to get rid of that other one, but sometimes you forget to re-enable it, so I usually just leave it on. I can deal with that little red check. But the live link, that is something you're probably going to have to sign up for or figure out a different way to disable that. So if we go down here to the 1 out of 1 targets, we can see that we were able to ping 10.0.0.5, and it succeeded in its ping. So, and right here, since we've opened it, it is just going to continuously ping that. So if you are troubleshooting with connectivity issues of another device, you can actually connect this, and from right next to that device you can continuously ping it without needing to go to another computer or watch the switch for activity. Same with this one. If I open that up, I can click that continuous button and they both will just continuously ping. It's kind of interesting that some things are a little bit more accurate on the LinkRunner AT1000 and some things are a little bit more accurate on the LinkRunner G2. So your milliseconds for your ping are more accurate here, down to the 10th of a second, while they're not accurate here, but the length of the cable was more accurate on the NetScout. It actually gave to the tenths. So another thing I'm going to show you is on the cable. So let's go click home and go to cable test. So you have, if you get the NetScout LinkRunner G2 with the, there's a larger kit. There's where you can just get the G2. Then there's the larger kit that comes in a duffel bag. You will actually get 6 wire view connectors. Where is that 4th one here? So these are good for mapping out and finding things, because if you work in an old building with poor documentation and you've got some floor outlets that you have no idea where they're going to, the awesome thing is that you can connect a bunch of these to where they're suspected to go and just keep going through until you see them. So I'm going to go over to the switch and I'm going to plug 4 of these in, and we're going to show you the difference on what comes up. So I have plugged them in, and they're in semi-random spots. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rerun the test. And so let's say we were using that example of, we have a floor jack and we have plugged the wire mapping RG45 connectors, male connectors, into those floor jacks. Then we go back to the switch, or patch panel, and we can connect the LinkRunners up, both of them, to where we suspect they would be, and then we can just continue going down the line until we actually see one of the wire mappers come up. So right now we see some interesting things, that these cables are 63 feet and 55 feet. And over here we've got 55 and then 62.7. So obviously the cables, the different twists are going to make the cables a little bit different in length, but that is a rather large jump between those two. And it's different cables on each one, so it makes it even more interesting. So the NetScout LinkRunner G2, it is a little bit more of a specialized tester. You can do the same things that the AT1000 can do, but a little bit more. So on this cable screen right here is where you would find your tone generators, where you can do a IntelliTone, which is a digital tone it creates, an analog 400 Hertz tone, and an analog 1000 Hertz tone. On the AT1000, it's going to be on the same page, but you're going to have your IntelliTone, your 40, and your 1000 the same way, and you can click down like that. So I gotta be honest, one of the things I don't like about these two versus one of the cheaper ones that we use is you can't tone out a specific wire and just have it continuously tone that specific wire. I've had cases where wires, or where a cable might have been kinked so bad that it actually broke a wire, and it's disappeared somewhere in the middle of the run. And I can't tell because everything's toning, so it continues out through. I'm going to show you the toner that comes with the NetScout LinkRunner G2. We're going to get this toner right here, the Fluke IntelliTone Pro. So it does do the cable map, which I know I said just a second ago it doesn't tone it. So you can, let's go to IntelliTone on this one. So I'll hold it right here. And it's me rotating it that is giving the different tones. And then let's go to the analog. And your IntelliTones don't work with that, just the standard. Not as loud as you would think. So some of the things we've gone over for the LinkRunner G2 in the settings were turning on and off the PoE sense, turning the IP configuration from static to DHCP right here under IP, how to set a static IP address, subnet mask, gateway, how to change the DNS. If you're using a proxy, you would turn proxy on and put your address and port right there along with your username and password. Change your targets, which your targets are the addresses that it is going to ping during the auto configuration. And if you are connecting to a trunked device, you can set what VLAN you want to be on in your VLAN priority. We didn't really go over that, but there it is right there. You can actually spoof MAC addresses with this unit, and here are some of your other things. So sometimes when you get these right out of the box, they'll be set up for meters. So for the LinkRunner G2, it is right in its just normal settings to change that right there. If you have multiple users or multiple jobs you're working on, you can actually save different configurations, different settings. You can save different profiles, which probably shouldn't have done that. Because once again, I don't use Link Live. And that is pretty much it. You can see the information about your switch. Currently, we're not really connected to a switch. We're connected to the wire mapper. That's why the switch and that didn't work. So now we're going to talk about the LinkRunner AT1000 for a second. So we went over how to look at a switch, how to run your auto test, and how to check your cables. Once again, this one is also connected to a wire mapper. So I'm going to click Home and show some of the settings we went over. We went over IP configuration if you want to do DHCP or static. So we'll set this back to DHCP. Once again, if you're using this on a trunked connection, you can change your VLAN and hop on whichever VLAN you need to. Auto test configuration is where you're going to set in your different targets, which your targets are, once again, the IP addresses or websites that you can ping. PoE configuration. So we can enable PoE so it will sense the PoE. Connect configuration, which will either auto-negotiate what connection speed and half duplex or full duplex, and enable authentication. General configuration is going to be where you would change this device from meters to feet. As you can see, we haven't even changed the date on this. And that's about it for the LinkRunner AT1000, sorry. So, both of these devices do very similar jobs. The thing about the LinkRunner G2 is that it is an Android device, so you can actually get Android apps on it and take pictures, run configurations. You can actually get Telnet applications on here and all that stuff from their app store. I'd love to demonstrate it, but it is currently blocked on the network that I'm on, so cannot. That's about it for this one. You can play music on it.